Today's video is brought to you by Sleeper. So you think you know football, huh? Okay, let's turn your football knowledge into real money. Download the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick more or less on your favorite players. With more stats than any other daily fantasy app, just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from pregame or live stats. Pick more or less from predicted stats and you can win up to 1,000 times your money if your pick wins. So use the promo code CFO and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. So download Sleeper now and let's get this money, gang. Before we dip, gotta talk about college football. And me and my brother was out there in Vegas, had a good time at the sports book out there at MGM Grand. If you haven't been to the MGM Grand, it's newly renovated. Salute to the MGM Grand for being an incredible host. You know, I got there Thursday morning like at 6 a.m. And I was like, bro, what the hell am I gonna do until my brother gets here like at 12? My room's probably not gonna be ready. I'm gonna sit and gamble and lose money before I even get in my mode, right? And as soon as I got to the MGM Grand, salute to my hostess, May. She was like, Mr. Tucker, your room is ready for you and already available. I said, ain't that a bitch? So I got to go up to my room, take a nap, get refreshed before my brother got there, and you know what I'm saying, before we got active. So salute to MGM Grand, but the rooms have been newly renovated. So salute to MGM. But we out there in the sports book watching some college football on Saturday. And I am man enough to admit when I am wrong. Maybe it was the draft nerd in me, because they have tons of draft talent, from Woods to Avian Terrell to Cade Klubnik to Antonio Williams. Clemson, bro. I believed in Clemson. I thought Clemson was going to be national championship contenders. I thought Clemson was going to run through the ACC. I felt like Clemson had the most talented roster in college football. I was wrong. Dabo Swinney, great guy. I met Dabo. Me and my brother at the sports book in the restaurant, we met a guy who was a booster for Clemson and stuff. He invited me and my family out to Clemson when Florida State plays them. He's going to put us in, you know, this his cabin and everything. It's a great guy, right? So he was upset. But Georgia Tech, even though I love Haynes King, because trust me, Haynes King dog walked my nose last year, right? He's out of Texas, too. I think he's out of Tyler, Texas. Haynes King out of Tyler, Texas? I think he is Tyler, Texas, right? But Clemson should have won that game versus Georgia Tech. They should have won that game versus Georgia Tech. That's a game that you have to win, right? And it was crazy, right? The last-minute field goal and rushing to the line of scrimmage, and Georgia Tech's kicker just stepped up and boom, Brandon Aubrey that shit for the win. I don't know. I do not see Clemson getting into the CFP. They are going to have to steamroll the rest of the season. They are going to have to steamroll the rest of the season. But what we're seeing in college football right now is the top premier teams, people aren't afraid of them anymore. They're not afraid of them anymore. And there is a quarterback crisis in college football. DJ Lagway looking shaky, baby, out there in Florida. 5 interceptions. 5. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. 5 interceptions. Cade Klubnik struggling. Arch Manning has me looking like an idiot right now. Arch Manning, listen, I know there's pressure. I know there was a lot on you based off of your last name. I get it that Sarkisian right now isn't calling good football games. I know. Well, I don't want to say I know because now I'm trying to question, is Ryan Wingo really the problem or is it? But Arch Manning, you have to play better, bro. Arch Manning, you have to play better. You have one more game. Let me pull up their schedule real quick. I think he has one more game to get better. Yes. So the quarterbacks that are playing well, you have Drew Aller, Carson Beck, big money, John Mateer, OU, and Rocco's Modern Life, and Joseph, don't forget my guy, Tommy Castellanos at Florida State. He's playing pretty damn good right now too as well. Right? But you have, who do they play? The Bearcats. I don't even know who the hell this university is. What is this school? Let me see. Because it's not Cincy. It's not Cincy. Who are they playing? Let me pull up their schedule. Texas football schedule. Bang, bang, bang. All right. You got Sam Houston this Saturday. Then you have Florida. We talked about Lagway. OU. We talked about Mateer. Kentucky. Mississippi State. Vandy. And Diago. Georgia. Arkansas is talented. And Texas A&M. Arch Manning, you have one more game to get it right, bro. Arch Manning literally has one more game to get it right, or it's about to get dark for Texas football. They're at the Swamp, right? The 11, right? Versus Oklahoma, which is going to be a tough game. Then you're at Kentucky, at Mississippi State, at home versus Vanderbilt, at Georgia versus Arkansas, Texas A&M. If Arch Manning does not get better, Texas is in trouble, y'all. And they have a phenomenal defense. Y'all know how much I love that Texas defense and Anthony Hill and those guys, right? But if they don't, they have one more game this weekend to get it figured out versus Sam Houston. Or it might be a situation you might got to see what else you got. You might got to see what else you got. You might have to. And I know, sir, it's going to sound crazy. It's going to look crazy if you bench Arch Manning, but you have to win games. You was the number one team in college football. And that game versus Ohio State, yeah, Vandy is no longer for the Skip Baylesses and the nerds. Diago Pavia can play some football, right? They got some dogs out there at Vandy. You was the number one team. That game versus Ohio State was good, right? Close, right? You had the fumble on the goal line. But that UTEP game, you should have ran through UTEP. It was a back and forth for a little bit versus UTEP. Sam Houston is your last tune-up game before it gets dark in the SEC. So Arch Manning has to figure it out. But when it comes to college football right now, y'all, it is wide open. I know Ohio State's number one right now, but with Julian Sain at quarterback, Jeremiah Smith really hasn't turned up. Jeremiah Love at Notre Dame has been in no-shows. I kind of like Oregon. Oregon is creeping on the come up. I kind of like them coming. I've always been an Oregon fan, you know what I'm saying? But Oregon's creeping on the come up. You have Florida State ranked 7. You have Miami. it's going to be a very intriguing season this year when it comes to college football. And who is going to get to that 12 spot? Because I feel like there's not a juggernaut, right? Tennessee had Georgia in the bag. And that Tennessee kicker was out there. Y'all play CFB? That Tennessee kicker was out there. We were sitting there watching the sports book. I was like, bro, he looks shook. Right? That Tennessee kicker was out there. His meter was going crazy. And he pinked wide right. You know? Pinked it. And let Georgia get the win. So there's not a juggernaut. Last year, I felt like when you watched Ohio State, I feel like that team was loaded, bro. They had Jeremiah Smith, Cardell Tate, Mecca Buka, fucking Travion Henderson, Quinshawn Judkins. Their defense was loaded. Like, Ohio State last year, even with Will Howard, they were just loaded. Like, it just felt like Caleb Jones, like, their team was just loaded. But this year, it doesn't feel that way. Big 12 seems wide open. My Kansas Jayhawks took a crushing loss versus Virginia. They played West Virginia, versus Missouri. But they play West Virginia this Saturday back at home. Yeah, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, BYU, Colorado's Dunzo. Iowa State and Rocco Beck is playing decent. Kansas State. And Avery Johnson. So there's gonna the Piggies had Ole Miss on the ropes. Yeah, it's not a lot of variables this year in major differences when it comes to college football this year. So it's going to make an exciting season, y'all. Once we get to conference play, things are going to get crazy. They're going to try to make the case for 2-loss, 3-loss teams to get into the playoffs.